I discovered Joyful Belly just personally for Ayurveda information and the fabulous recipes that are on there. And I remember every time I would go to the website and explore, I would see the ad for the Masters in Digestion. And I kept thinking, wow, how lucky are these people that they're going to get to immerse themselves into this 500-hour study of Ayurveda and really one of the biggest cornerstones of Ayurveda, the subject of digestion. Because when you begin to know and understand Ayurveda, you really realize that digestion in all of its facets, from the food you eat to how you process the things that come into your life and how you process the world around you, that's really it in its essence. So I kept thinking, wow, these people are so lucky that they're going to be able to dive into this and study this. And then finally one day I was like, well, wait a minute. What's stopping you from doing that? You can do this too. So I sent my application.
Great. That's exciting. And we enjoyed having you in the program, that's for sure. Tell us a little bit more. What specifically did you value in the program?
I think one of the biggest things, so it was the fact that it was really an immersion, beyond what a lot of us think of. You go away for a week long retreat or a week long training. I mean, this took the course of a year to really go through and understand. And the pace of it was really nice because every week I had pieces that anchored me into the program and had me reinforce and learn and embody the information that I was learning. And that was super valuable to just spend that time. While it might seem daunting to commit to a year, really it was, I think, necessary to kind of take my knowledge to that next level. So that was one of the things that I think was really valuable, is it's such an important topic. I mean, I feel like I could go through the program again or study it for 5 more years. And really, all the materials, I still have all my materials. I have a file on my computer. I have the transcripts of the classes as well as the live recordings. And I find myself, when someone will ask me a question about something, or even if it's something within myself or my family that I'm trying to discover, I go back over that information all the time. I go back and read those transcripts. And you really begin to glean different things pick up on ideas and concepts and thoughts that you hadn't considered the first time around. So that's been really nice too. It's not just during that time frame of that year that I'm getting that information. I have that information at my fingertips now forever.
It's a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. As teachers, we take the course every year ourselves in a way, because we are doing it with the students. And certainly every year for us, we continue to learn a ton. And so yeah, so that just echoing the fact that you could spend 5 years doing it, or 10 years, or 20 years, because we learn fantastic things every year we do it. How do you feel the course has changed you personally?
Well, first, let me just build on what you said about one of the other things that was so remarkable. A lot of times when you do a course, it tends to be like people. But what was so exciting about this is it was people from all over the world, from different modalities, acupuncturists and herbalists and doctors. And that was exciting to really hear everyone's personal experiences. And I think that really made the program very, very rich, is the participation from all of the other students. Um, how it's changed me personally is, I was thinking about that, and it's kind of interesting. I think for me, it gave me permission to not be, I've always kind of been a chronic perfectionist. I don't like to not have the right answer. I didn't like to say the words, I don't know. I always kind of wanted to know and be ready and be the one with the answer. But it really reinforced that we're just these ever-changing pieces of the earth, and that my experience is going to change. 5 years from now, my body will be different, my life will be different, and I'll have to digest and process things differently. So for me, it really gave me that permission to just kind of ease into it instead of forcing a practice on myself. So that was pretty profound.
Yeah, Ayurveda does do that. Um, this kind of ebb and flow, or in the moment understanding of how your body is reacting to the environment, and of course that's dependent upon age, season, and climate. Um, so learning how to do that is a different way of thinking. It's not the laboratory, the clean sort of laboratory result that you get when you do a double-blind study, but it but allows you to have a very individual and personal relationship with your environment, with your food, in terms of how your body reacts to it. So,
Yes, and really diving into and understanding what it means that my diagnostic tools are my senses, and how to notice if they're working properly. It's amazing to me that if my sense of smell is off, then my sense of taste is going to be off, and that then my cravings are going to be a little bit odd. So now I have the tools and the knowledge to see when that's happening, and then simple things that are just in my kitchen, already in my house, that I can use to remedy that. And it's really so simple.
it is so simple. Yeah, as we said, you could spend 5, 10 years studying it, or more, a whole lifetime. But at its essence, it's very simple, very profound. That's what I like about it too. That's how I came to Ayurveda also. Um, so tell me, did you experience any personal healings in the course? Do you feel better since taking the course?
Yes, again, it's going to be an evolution, because I think, right, some of these imbalances, maybe we've had them since we were born or walked around with them for a couple, 3 decades. So I don't think that overnight things will happen, you know. I kind of lost my train of thought for a second. But like specifically for me, yes, I did discover that I think I do have a little ulceration inside, and I have a lot of internal inflammation, which I didn't really realize. I had no idea. So I've been working on that since. Again, since I don't think it happened overnight, it's going to take a little bit of while and patience to really kind of change my life. But yes, absolutely, I feel better. I feel a lot better. And basically, it's also noticing when you feel good, right? A lot of times we just think, oh, well, this is how I am. And you just kind of accept that this is the way you're supposed to be. And when you really dive into it a little bit more, you're like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I could feel a little bit better. Maybe I am a little sluggish in the morning, or maybe I don't have to just say, oh, I have insomnia. It's just a part of my life. So I sleep better. That's been such an amazing gift. And
Yeah, a lot of times when people are thinking about um, disease, they're thinking about a cure. I'm going to cure this condition. I'm going to diagnose and cure this condition. And Ayurveda doesn't really, it takes that approach, of course, but that's not where Ayurveda's greatest advantage is. In fact, I think Ayurveda's greatest advantage is in improving the quality of life. So
yes.
that and this is something that I notice people forget. I'll do a clinical session with a client, and we'll work together over 5 sessions. In the beginning, they report all these problems, and by the end of the 5 sessions, they're feeling pretty good, but they can't even really remember what's different, or it's somehow very difficult for them to recall the how what their quality of life was like before, and what it is like now, because they may actually still have the condition, but they feel a lot better. And so it's this funny thing that we're not used to in Western medicine. It's is do we have a disease or not? Is really the question that the doctor's going to ask you, and Ayurveda is going to say, well, what's the quality of life of the client, and very often, if a person's experiencing pain, discomfort, gas, bloating, or some other digestive disorder, and it's a 9 out of 10 after 5 sessions of working with somebody who is efficient, their pain or discomfort might be at a level 1 or a level 2, and they're fine, but they might still have the condition, and that is very unusual, because the client's not used to experiencing those quality of life improvements unless the disease is completely eradicated from their system. And so I noticed that with myself, that I can't remember how I used to feel, but I can put words to my disorders, right? It's a funny thing. So, what about some challenges in the program? Did you have any challenges in the program? I know it's not an easy program. It's not necessarily a extraordinarily difficult program either, but surely there must have been some things that came up along the way.
Well, what was really interesting, so the initial challenge was technology, which was surprising because I came out of a technology profession. I was a television producer, so for me, I'd always felt like I was kind of on top of it. And it's great that it's ever changing and evolving, but when you have to put it to this use of across the span of a year, it can be a little bit daunting. I remember the initial first calls of trying to get ourselves set up. And so I would say to people that, you know, you're not really alone if you feel that. Don't let that be what stops you from embracing this program, because it's easy to overcome. I felt very supported by the Joyful Belly staff and ways to remedy and how to, to get back on board. But what was the benefit of it all is it really gave me confidence to know that I could pick up something and do it again, right? It's been a long time since I've had to work hard to get somewhere like that, if that makes sense. Like a lot of things come easy, and just to not give up and to not let it bump me off track. And I think finding a schedule is a really important thing during the course of this program, like spacing out your time, dedicating certain days as homework days or listening to lecture days and giving yourself deadlines and a schedule. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It kept me motivated, not just on the course, but it gave me some anchor points in my life. I'm lucky enough that I have very independent work where I can kind of do my work when I want to. So that actually helped me through the course of the year in my life as well to stay anchored.
Yeah, a lot of our projects, especially as professionals, are short term. I mean, we might have long term goals, but those long term goals don't have clear beginnings and ends. And so it feels like we're just working a little bit on whatever the project of the day is in our professional life. But when you go through a course, it is a marathon. You're going through, and there's a beginning and an end. And when you get to the end, you feel a sense of accomplishment. And you realize, oh my goodness, this is all that I have done over the past year. And I'll also mention that around the technology, that I think every student in the program will agree with you that in the first 3 weeks there's a learning curve, and every year we get a few people that say, I can't do this. This is too difficult. This technology is overwhelming. And then we work with them for 2 or 3 weeks, a few support phone calls and words of encouragement and support, and everybody gets it after that time period. And whether you're a technology buff or not, it takes about 3 weeks. That's what
Yeah.
we noticed.
I wound up buying myself a laptop to get organized so it could be kind of a fresh start. I enlisted my teenager to help me with Google Drives and all that, and she made it easy and clear. So once you get yourself set up, and I think that's the biggest thing, to not get frustrated and let it be the stopping point that makes you not stay with the course, because it's really super easy. And then that you've overcome an obstacle. And for me, it was 2 decades since I had written a paper. So that was a little bit daunting too. And I heard that echoed with my classmates that, we were just like, oh, geez, how are we going to do this? And boy, that was really something to be proud of at the end when you had this paper that you show to your friends and your family, and they're like, you wrote this? This is amazing. So that was really a neat experience too.
You touched on the second biggest challenge that most of our students, when we ask them, report, is writing the paper. And again, a lot of fear comes up for people. They're worried about it. Am I going to fail? No, they're not going to fail, because we recognize that people haven't written a paper in 20 years, many of them, and the purpose of the course is to teach people how to do all the things that they need to do in order to be a great practitioner, including writing papers. So we don't expect people to be a university professor publishing in Science magazine in the first month of the course. What we want to do is help people through their writing challenges, and teach them. And again, another area where once people finish those papers, they feel this tremendous sense of accomplishment. Before writing the paper, they think, "Can I really do this?" And maybe, before I feel bad about failing, I'll just I'll audit the course, or we get a lot of phone calls. Can I just audit, or can I? And we, of course, if somebody wants to audit, we let them. But we strongly discourage that, because when people write their papers and get through that challenge, then they're very proud of them, and they've actually made a great contribution to the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was also a lesson in my own digestibility. When I get this mountain that I have to climb, what do I do with it? How do I, how am I going to get through that? And that was really profound, to just experience that and embrace it. And I liked that it was not, you're not trying to write this big dissertation for medical doctors, you're writing this for clients. So that was a really great exercise too. How can I take this, what can seem to be like a very technical and difficult thing to understand, and how do I put this into simple terms so that a client can understand?
Right, that's right. We're not trying to be professors writing for professors. We are trying to be great Ayurveda practitioners, writing for the people that need it, which is our clients.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. How do you plan to share what you've learned in the program?
Well, it comes up all the time. Hey, I'm experiencing this. What do you think? Hey, I'm having these symptoms. What do you think? And it's really kind of neat that people have that trust in me, that they'll come to me with these very personal subject matters. I've helped a lot of people able to poop regularly. So my family kind of laughs, calls me the poop detective, and that I'll get to the bottom of people's, irregular habits. So that's been exciting, because that can be life-changing for someone to just be regular every day. It's such a simple thing, but it's so important. So, I have a small practice. I wouldn't consider myself, to be like a typical clinician where I have a clinic or anything. It's just mostly kind of community-based, homegrown, small practice.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Great. What would you recommend this course to somebody, or who would you recommend it to?
Really, I think it's a course for anyone, and that's what's so great about it. And what makes the course so rich in experience is it's from anyone who already is maybe a doctor or a nurse or some sort of healthcare professional. I think people are looking to remedies that aren't as big of a commitment as going on a medication that they don't understand, that maybe won't cure a root cause, but will just mask symptoms. I think that everybody's kind of onto that and not really into it anymore. All the way down to just a person who wants a deeper understanding of their body, which was really the basis where I came from. I'm a yoga practitioner, teacher, and that's really why I came to that practice, is to understand and remember and know myself better. So this course really offers that too, on a very deep level. I mean, I think it's just insane that we don't teach this kind of work to our children in school. It's just, I have to spend a year and take a special course to learn about how my body works. That to me is just insane, but I'm so glad I did it, and I would recommend it to anyone.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. People do use it for personal healing, and they use it for body awareness and their personal understanding, even if they are well. And then, of course, there are a number of folks that use it for their professional practice as well. Well, are there any parting words you'd like to offer?
Goodness, I don't think so. I think if you're sitting on the fence or thinking, hey, these people, like where I was, like, oh, wow, how lucky that someone gets to do this course. Well, you can be just as lucky. It's really accessible, and all you got to do is just put in your application and go for it. It's a really great gift that you could give yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. all of your sharing and about your experience in the program. And of course, if people do have questions, they can always call me. They can
Yeah.
call. We give out our email or our phone number for students that have questions about the program, just to make sure that it's a good fit for them. And it is very exciting for all of us to go through it together. So once you make that choice, be prepared for a journey. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deanie. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And maybe, I was thinking, as you said, so parting words, or it kind of grows beyond. I have classmates now that we have a Facebook group, and if something comes up for someone, if someone runs into something that they can't quite figure out or would like some insight, that still happens. It's been over a year now, and people are still reaching out to each other, and you make friends, and it makes the world a little bit smaller. So in a good way. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you,
Oh,
Deanie.
thank you.